So I'm holding two different whiteboard markers, and if I asked you what colors they were, you'd quite easily tell me that this one is blue and that this one is red. You might even be going, Michael, why ask me such a simple question? But if I was to play two different notes on the guitar, for example, this note and then this note, you can probably hear that they're different, but you lack the terminology or even the skill to say this one is an F and this one here is a D. Now, if you'd like to be able to figure out what those notes are, to be able to hear melodies in your head and bring them to life on the instrument, or to listen to songs and instantly be able to figure out what they are, stay tuned, because in this video lesson, I'm going to teach you how to start training your ears and connect it to your fingers and the theory of the fretboard so you can start to play what you hear in your head and figure out melodies, chord progressions, and songs by ear. Hello there, guitar players. My name's Michael, and in this video, I'm going to teach you how you can start training your ears to hear and identify different sounds within music, so that when it comes time to figure out a song by ear, or when you're improvising and you're trying to capture something that you're hearing in your head, could be improvising or could be composing, you're going to be able to find the notes on the fretboard and bring that music to life. It's something my students ask me about all the time. It's something I've been trained at a university level, and the good news is it's something that only takes a little bit of time to develop. It's not going to be complicated, but it is going to be taking time. And eventually it will get as easy as saying this is going to be red and this one is going to be blue. So if we want to learn how to tell these notes apart, let's get stuck into it. When it comes to figuring things out by ear, all you are doing is going through a process of elimination. What you need to be able to do is to identify different sounds, put them in different categories, and then when you hear them, you just associate the sound that you're hearing with a category and then a specific set of rules in terms of music theory and fretboard knowledge to find those notes or to capture those sounds. All we do is understand the theory of the music, hear the sound that we want, and then use the rules that we know to find where those notes are on the instrument. It's very closely related to composition. It's very closely related to, of course, ear training. And if we know the fretboard, we know where the notes are, we can bring anything to life. Without any further ado, let's start learning the actual exercises. So the first thing that you want to do on your guitar is start training yourself to hear the notes and intervals of a major scale. Now I'm going to play you the E major scale, which is 0, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 12 on string number 1. So the first thing you need to do is to train yourself to hear the different notes and intervals within the major scale. On a piano, you'd probably start with the C major scale because all the white keys. On a guitar, we're going to use the E major scale because we can use the open first string or the open sixth string. Here is the E major scale. Now on string number 1, that is fret 0, fret 2, fret 4, fret 5, fret 7, fret 9, fret 11, and fret number 12. And I'm basically following the first note, going up a tone, a semitone, a tone, a tone, a tone, and a semitone. And what we want to do is spend a minute or two just getting the sound of that major scale in your head. You can even drone string number 6, and I highly recommend that you hum along as you play so that you start internalizing that melody and your voice also starts connecting to the guitar and the notes that you're hearing. So there is that scale, and I recommend that if you need some more time, you just pause this video and start working your way through the scale. So the next thing that we're going to do is start trying to identify really simple melodies of roughly 3 to 5 notes that are composed using the major scale. Now, if I just said, I'm going to play you any 3 notes on the entire guitar fretboard, most people have around 120 notes that they're going to be dealing with. That is way too many notes. But if we start using a process of elimination to sort through these notes and categorize them, it's going to make it significantly easier. And this is why figuring things out by ear is essentially just a process of elimination. People who are good at it are just going through the steps way faster in their head than someone who is new to this. So keep in mind the different steps that we described, because if you can categorize sounds and eliminate different things one by one, you're only left with the right answers. That's a very smart way to go about it. So if I tell you we're going to play notes only on string number 1, we've automatically removed over 100 possible combinations of notes. Now, if I say we're going to use a scale, then we've essentially eliminated 10 of the possible 20 to 24 notes, and we're left with, in a single octave, 7 notes that work, 5 notes that we can ignore. And if we're doing a full 2 octave across a single string, which we won't be, then of course we're just duplicating those same notes. So identifying the scale that you're using automatically eliminates most of the notes that aren't going to be used. We're going to use the E major scale, and we're going to make it easy for you because we're going to use only the first 3 notes. Now I'm going to make it even easier for the first couple because I'm only going to start using the open string, the 0. So here's your first melodic fragment. Don't look at my fingers, just listen and try and figure it out. So hopefully you were listening and you heard that out of those 3 notes, the first note was our open string and then it went up. Now you can ask yourself, did it go up again? No, it didn't go up twice. It went the first note, it went up, and then it went back down. So you should have had 0 to 0. And by the way, you should be using your guitar to work these out. Don't just guess randomly. Listen to a sound, grab your guitar, try and match that first note, and then build up from there. All you need to do is find 1 note at a time. What is the next note? And cross off all the other possible combinations as you go. So I played 0 to 0. Now here's another one for you. So hopefully, after playing 0, that was the ground level, you went up to the first floor, and you went up another floor again. That's how you like to think about this. Going upstairs, going up an elevator, climbing a ladder. Sounds very Looney Tunesy. Going up the hill or coming back down the hill. That's how you want to think of these major scales and their sounds. But that's another fragment for you. Hopefully you figured it out. If you need to pause this video and take some time or go back and listen to it, take as many attempts as you need. It's all a learning process. And here's the third fragment when you're ready. So hopefully you started on the bass level, you went up, but you didn't go up by 1, you went up by 2. You went from 0 to 4, and then it didn't go up again, it came back down. So basically what will happen there is you want to listen to whether the interval is going up or down. If you can just listen to each note 1 at a time, then before you know it, you'll be able to just figure things out 1 note at a time nice and easily. So what I'm actually going to do is probably in the next week or so, release another video which just contains a bunch of different melodies that I've put together, and I'm just going to play them for you. You can watch that video, you can listen to the first melody, pause it, figure it out, go to the second one, and I'll put a dozen, 2 dozen different melodies in there for you to figure out. So if you want to access that video, make sure you like this one and subscribe so you get the notification for that video when it comes out next week. And hopefully that'll be a nice, real handy little practice resource for you to help you train your ear. Once you get the hang of these basic melodies, you can start adding more and more notes in. So here's a slightly more complicated one for you. And once you get that one, try this next one. So there you go, a couple of melodies for you to figure out from this video. And if you subscribe, I will be putting out a new video in the next couple of days, which is going to have me going through a bunch of melodies which you can listen to, refer back to, and keep using to train your ears. So to summarize what we've done so far, the first thing we did was play through the E major scale and use it to familiarize our ear with the sound of the major scale and the intervals that we're going to hear. Secondly, we started trying to figure out some additional 3 to 5 note melodies, really simple ideas that are going to start training our ears in what to listen for while going through a process of elimination. Before we go on to the third part of this video lesson, what I want to do is just talk about a brief story of one of my experiences in developing a skill. So I've gone to university and I've done a degree in jazz and contemporary guitar playing, but like many guitar players, I'm not happy with the state of my guitar playing. And right before the pandemic in 2020, I reached out to a head of guitar at one of our universities, one of the most renowned jazz guitar teachers in Melbourne and of course the rest of Australia, and said, hey, I'm really not happy with my jazz chord melody playing. Can you help me out? Can I take some lessons with you over the summer? And he was like, sure mate, I'd love to help you out, come down to the studio. So I teed up my first lesson, and long story short, it was fantastic. But you'll never guess what song he had me working on first. The very first song, the most renowned jazz guitar teacher in Australia had me working on as a guitar player who'd already been playing for roughly 15 years at that point, was none other than Happy Birthday. Now, some of you might be going, what? Happy birthday? And I didn't have an ego around that because I was very humble with my jazz guitar playing. I know it needs work. But I can imagine a lot of people went, oh, I've been playing guitar for this long. I'm above learning how to play Happy Birthday. This teacher said to me, Michael, if you can't play chord melodies using these really simple melodies, you have no chance of doing it with really complex jazz standards. And he was 100% right. So the next part of this lesson here is going to be me playing you a nursery rhyme, which you need to figure out by ear. And I strongly recommend you start looking up a bunch of other nursery rhymes and start trying to play them by ear. Because if you can't do it with really basic things, you're not going to do it with really complex things. And the best part about nursery rhymes is you've sung them hundreds, if not thousands of times. You already know them. They're already internalized in your inner ear. You don't have to learn a song and then try and figure it out. You've already learnt them. And the best part is most of them use the major scale. Most of them are really, really basic. So they're easy to figure out. That's going to make you feel really good when you do figure them out. And that confidence is going to spur you on to bigger and more challenging things. So without any further ado, you are going to try and play this by ear. You're not allowed to look up the tabs. You're not allowed to see my hands. You can pause it and replay it as many times as you like, but you need to figure out this little nursery rhyme here. So that is the first part of the melody there. And once you get the hang of that, you can figure out the next part. And then you can continue on and put the whole thing together. So there you go. That's Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, or the alphabet song, little parts of Bar Bar Black Sheep if you add in a few variations. It starts on 0. We want to make it easy. We're starting on 0, the open E string. We're only using the notes of the E major scale. 0, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12. And what you need to do is to listen to when the notes repeat and whether the notes go up or whether they go down. Now, I want you to pause this video and try and take at least 2 to 5 minutes to figure it out. If you can't, press play on the video and I'm going to give you a few extra notes, but I am not going to give you the entire thing. You need to figure that out, and you need to spend time figuring it out. So many of my students will attempt to do this for 30 seconds and go, oh, this is so hard. I can't do it. I give up. No wonder you can't do it. You've only been doing it for 30 seconds. Set a timer for 5 minutes and do not stop until the 5 minutes is up. You might feel like punching a hole in the wall. You might feel like smashing a guitar because you're frustrated. Good. Don't smash your guitar, but keep working at it. If you give it time, you will figure it out. You're not allowed to give up. Anyway, pause this video and start working on that song. So I'm assuming you actually took the time to watch that video there. And if you did, fantastic. I hope you figured it out. Now, if you didn't figure it out, that's okay as well. I'm going to show you a process of elimination on how to figure it out. So this is what I would do. If I listen to the notes, all I need to do is get the first two notes and I can work it out from there. So I'm not including repeats. If we actually listen, the first two notes is the E note twice, the same note twice in a row. You need to listen out for things like that. Then the next note. Now, does that sound like it's immediate? Not that note. It's not that note either. And what I would essentially do is write out the whole scale, 0, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12, and then just cross them out one by one. Is it 0, 0, 2, 2? It's not that, so I can cross out that option. 0, 0, 4, 4. Cross that out, it's not that option. 0, 0, 5, 5, it's getting a little bit closer, but it's not quite that option. 0, 0, 7, 7, that actually sounds right. So we got our next note, which is all we need to do is get the next note, and then from there we listen. Did it go up or did it go down? Now, process of elimination, we've got 0, 0, 7, 7. We can go up to 9, we can go up to 11 or up to 12, or we can go down to number 5. Nope, it definitely doesn't go down to 5, so let's try up to 7. Up to 9, sorry. That sounds pretty correct. But just for the sake of checking, I can try 11. Definitely not 11, I think we're pretty happy with 9. And it sounds like it goes down again. There you go. So that is the process you should follow if you get stuck. Just focus on getting the next correct note. Write it down so that you don't keep on having to try and remember and forget things. I remember how hard this was in the beginning, just trying to retain melodies. And if you're trying to figure things out by ear, it's like it fades away from your memory. There's like the ghost of the melody just echoing in your mind before it disappears. So I know what that's like. Repeat, pause it, rewind, watch it again, listen to it again as many times as you need to figure it out. It's a skill that you just got to do over and over. But once you've done 10 nursery rhymes, once you've put in a couple of hours into this, your ears will improve dramatically. And often this is one of the missing pieces of the puzzle for guitar players. We put 100 hours into our technique, 100 hours into our theory, into some of our fretboard knowledge, but we never actually stop and learn how to listen to the music and figure out what's going on and how it relates to the theory and how it relates to the fretboard. If you put 20 hours into this, it will lift up every other area of your guitar playing significantly and give you that bonus skill of just being able to figure out songs by ear. And all we got to do is keep on adding additional stipulations, categorize more and more sounds, and then add them to your vocabulary, so to speak, so you can identify minor scale sounds, so you can identify exotic sounds or pentatonics and things like that. If you know what different sounds sound like and you know the different scales that produce those sounds, those scales will give you a narrower selection of notes so that you eventually get it right. But anyway, that is bringing us to the end of this video. So what you should do from here, basically, if you can figure out the melody on string number 1, the next thing you should do is then go and find the same melody but on a different string. That doesn't mean repeat the exact same frets. All you've done is change key but kept the intervals the same. What you do is you find the E note on string 2, which is at fret number 5, and you work out the exact same thing from string number 2, and then number 3, and number 4, and number 5, and number 6, until you've played that scale from a number of different positions. Then, instead of doing it up and down a single string, you can try and find those same notes across multiple strings. So that is a great way of building up your ability to create these melodies and play these melodies, just by figuring out a nursery rhyme by ear and then going and refining it on other strings. That's going to really help with your fretboard knowledge, and it's going to really consolidate your ear. From there, as I said, I'm going to post another video with dozens of different melody ideas you can use to help train your ears, and I will also post another video about the minor scale and starting to identify different minor scale intervals. So if you found it interesting, you found this helpful, please like, please subscribe so you don't miss out on those additional future videos. And I would also challenge you to think of a movie theme, a TV theme, a really simple solo, a melody from another song that you can try and figure out. The more you start figuring out really simple things, the easier it will be to figure out the more intermediate and complex things later on. So that's it for me, guys. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe so you can keep up to date with future videos. And hey, I've tried out a lot with the camera. I've tried out a lot with the new audio settings. If you've noticed a big step up in quality, please let me know in the comments and I will gladly address any concerns in the future video. Additionally, you may have noticed I've put a lot of extra effort into videoing. I've got 2 cameras set up. I've got the audio set up through a Helix. I'm putting in a lot more effort, and if you've noticed and have got some more feedback for me, I'd really appreciate it so I can keep doing more of the good stuff and fixing all the bad stuff. And lastly is just a reminder to keep on practicing, to never give up, and to, if you've got any questions, put them in the comments so I can make more videos helping you guys out. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video.